questions when you have answers.
This podcast is sponsored by Restream. Why live stream to one platform when you can simultaneously live stream to every platform to discover new audiences faster using Restream.io?
Your daily drop on gaming, live streaming, and social media today is Shroud versus Dr. Disrespect versus Ninja. Who won? But we're not even going to wait to show you. We're just going to tell you right now, it was Dr. Disrespect. He won. That's not much of a surprise, but it is maybe a surprise on what we can take away from this, how they did it, how they got to where they are now. So let's just look at the numbers real quick. It looks Dr. Disrespect 249K, and this is average viewers since their return. He had an average of 249,000 people. Ninja, he went back to Twitch. He's at 223,000 on average. And Shroud over at YouTube Gaming as well. He's at 118,000 average viewers. Those are just insane numbers, AWOL.
Yes, they are. They're absolutely crazy. And I'm really glad to see these streamer comebacks garner that much interest. Obviously, a lot of this was driven by drama. It was driven by news and PR in different ways for different streamers. And I also think it was driven by which platforms they chose to return to and how they chose to return. So I'm interested to dive deep into that to give some of our streaming viewers some insights. When you see folks at the top of the pyramid doing something and getting specific results and numbers, you can learn what that platform and what that strategy means for everybody else on that platform. So I'm excited to get into that. But there are more insights from the Stream Hatchet report as well, right? Ross, hit us with it.
Yes. There are quite, we love Stream Hatchet, by the way. What a great source. So essentially a couple of side notes here for both Ninja's stream. He gave, for both of Ninja's streams since his return, he gave less than a 24-hour notice that he was planning on streaming and still averaged over 90K viewers on both YouTube and Twitch. I have a question about that later. Hopefully you have an answer. With Dr. Disrespect streaming regularly on YouTube now, he's averaging over 90,000 viewers each day. That's
90,000. That's wonderful. Now, this report was from about a week ago, so I think that number has probably declined a bit, but this is a significantly higher number. 90,000 regularly for Dr. Disrespect is a significantly higher number than what he was getting on Twitch. Before on Twitch, he was getting, let's say, 25K-ish on average on Twitch. Now on YouTube, he is magnitudes larger. So this move to YouTube was obviously incredibly lucrative to him in terms of audience growth. But Ross, there's more.
Yes, there is more. Shroud had the longest session across 3 streamers and generated an average of 223,000 viewers.
That's a lot of viewers, everybody. I mean, these are giant comebacks. And this is also on top of Tim the Tatman sharing his numbers recently with his you know, kind of streaming event that happened on Twitch where he got 330 something, I believe, thousand concurrent viewers when he was trying to get his first crown in Fall Guys. So celebrity streamers are doing better than ever right now. And so is this a good thing or a bad thing for the average streamer? Are the celebrity streamers kind of catching all of the interest, or are they just riding the wave of all of these platforms growing so exponentially? Before I start rambling about it, what do you think, Ross?
I think it can be a little bit of a mixture of both, but I think the most important thing is here, and I'm sure this is something that everybody is like, yeah, but this is after a lot of drama took place over the summer between, essentially they all had their own drama. Now, obviously Dr. Disrespect was a little bit different. So how much can we actually attribute these return viewers over the past month, these massive numbers? How much can we actually attribute to that drama? And what is the potential that they can keep up these numbers? I think that's the real question here.
I agree. I was just typing in chat to our viewers that are watching. Can they keep up the numbers? I think that, well, first of all, I feel like Ninja is untested right now in terms of what sort of numbers he can generate. And as we've seen from the news headlines, Ninja is looking into Hollywood opportunities and non-streaming opportunities. And it looks like that's taking up a significant amount of his time and effort, and maybe his team's effort. He's made a handful of streams here and there. His comeback really isn't as triumphant as we can see from the graph, if you don't mind pulling that back up, as Shroud and Dr. Disrespect. It appears to me that Shroud and Dr. Disrespect are going to stick to what they're good at, which is live streaming video games on the internet, and they're going to build on top of that to build out whatever their next step is, if it is really beyond streaming. And if we look at their strategy, Shroud is really just streaming. He's just streaming on Twitch. He's doing Shroud stuff. But he's focusing now more on just chatting. He's focusing less on his gameplay and more on community building and interacting with his audience through the biggest category on Twitch, which is the fastest growing category on Twitch, which is just chatting. But you're not really seeing Shroud building like a media empire or going Hollywood or getting a comic book or a TV show or any of these other things. He's just sticking to the basics. And you know what? He can be one of the top 5 streamers on Twitch, probably for the next 5 years if he sticks to that strategy. And that's probably the best fit for him. I mean, he's the gameplay guy. He's the guy with incredible aim. He's the guy who, rose to popularity not only because of his chill personality, but because he's just freaking savage at shooting people in video games. So he should just stick with his strengths. He's not the greatest entertainer. He's not going to be an amazing actor in a movie. He would be super boring, but he is a thrilling watch to watch this man play video games and to basically have robot-like aim and insane flicks in the whole nine. Shroud is sticking with what is his strength. And so I think that that's a really good strategy for him on Twitch right now. What do you think, Ross?
Yeah, I agree. I got those completely mixed up earlier. So my question, I have another question for you concerning what you talked about with Ninja here. His strategy, like you said, he's obviously kind of taking a look at the Hollywood route, trying to figure out some other things outside of streaming. Does, in the benefit of being somebody of this caliber, does not giving any warning or not doing any marketing towards your streaming actually, in a way, kind of benefit them? And will doing less amount of streams at where he is right now, so he can focus on other things, can that also actually benefit him, make more of a craving for it when you're not giving it out, every single day?
I don't think so. No. So Andrew Parent and I would disagree on this, I think. There's a certain level of anticipation that comes along with the streamer leaving and then making a comeback, especially if people don't know what's going on or they don't know when they're coming back and things of that description. That can be interesting, and that can build awareness and an allure around any celebrity, including a streamer. But in the case of Ninja, I actually think Ninja is going to do himself a significant disservice by not constantly engaging with his audiences through live streams and really stepping up his original content game and taking it to the next level. Obviously, if he's going to do a movie or a TV show or whatever, that's going to be original content, and that's going to break him out into the mainstream, and that's cool. And maybe he wants to go the route of being a show host or being, you know what I mean? And like maybe going prime time on TV, maybe. Or maybe going like traditional old school media. Maybe that is his dream rather than sitting there playing video games and streaming all the time. If that is, then he's making the right moves. But regardless, he needs to have his team, and he needs to be filming every day. And he needs to be streaming regularly, and he needs to give his team unlimited content to chop up and distribute on YouTube, on Twitter, on TikTok, on Instagram, everywhere to keep his relevance up. Or when he decides to go launch these shows or whatever he decides to do, he's not going to have that much of an impact there. And when we look at the return numbers here, Ninja's content game has been weak, in my opinion. Obviously, he moved over to Mixer, and that he literally lost 78% of his audience when he went to Mixer. And Shroud lost 83% of his audience when he went to Mixer. But when Shroud returned to Twitch, his viewership was high, and he's going to retain that viewership. When Ninja returned, it was much lower. So why is that? I don't think it's just due to their personalities. People leave it up to these things like, oh, well, he's not as interesting, or he's not as much of an entertainer or something. I think that's all crap. I think it has to do with how strong is their YouTube game? How strong is their content game at any given moment to build new audience and to bring new eyeballs in constantly? And right now, out of all of these celebrities, throw Tim the Tap Man and Stone Mountain in there on Facebook Gaming, Stone Mountain 64. Ninja's content game is by far the weakest, and I think that is going to hurt him moving forward. And I think this is a lesson that all streamers out there right now can learn from. It doesn't matter how famous you were at one point. It doesn't matter how big you were for a game at one point. If you don't keep the grind going, if you don't keep the content flowing on all avenues nonstop all the time, your relevance will go away. It doesn't matter how famous you were once.
So are you making a prediction here? Maybe that what we've seen from Ninja right now could be drastically worse if he keeps up the same strategy and the same pace, like, 6 months from now?
Yes. If you look at the return of all these guys, his return was much lower. And I think that, if Ninja focuses too much on Hollywood, and let's say he launches a movie a year or two from now, and that's his big launch, he will have lost probably the majority of his audience, maybe 80% of it along the way. So we need to see a very consistent and very strong streaming and content strategy that Ninja's doing that's new, that's refreshing, that's interesting, where he's able to break out because of an internet content strategy until he hits that point. Otherwise, people are going to be like, Ninja did what? I don't know. Isn't Ninja so old by now? By a year or two from now? That's the way the internet works, and that's the way people's brains work. And other streamers will just be more interesting and will be eating up all of the viewership. And Ninja's, Hollywood comeback or his TV comeback or whatever it may be covered by traditional PR outlets and, online blogs and maybe even TV shows. But who cares? Because the people that read those are going to be like, that's an interesting thing that a gamer did that, but they aren't going to go to theaters. They aren't going to watch it on TV. He needs the people that are on Twitch and are on YouTube and are a part of this gaming community to go watch him. Those are the people that actually give a crap. So by going old media, traditional media, you can acquire a new audience. But the thing I'm concerned about is, does that audience care at all about some basically kid gamer in their eyes? He's not a kid, he's an adult, but some kid gamer that played on the internet? No, they don't care.
No.
And so that could be a huge mistake here without keeping that foundation of his streaming viewership and his social media viewership.
Yeah, and I think that's a good lesson to learn is essentially what you just said about how if you've built up a following, if you've built up a large audience by streaming, and then you want to go take on a new venture, but maybe kind of in the same ballpark of what you're working on now, you essentially have to rebuild an entire audience for that venture or for that strategy that you're implementing. It's much more difficult than you think to take an audience that has been susceptible and getting all this content from the same genre of entertainment for the longest time. They're not going to want to move over there. They become accustomed to that. People don't like change. So I think that's important to realize that when you do switch up, when you do go from these ventures, like when I went from, posting all memes to doing the podcast, it's a chore. It is a chore to get those people interested in what you're doing outside of what they're used to. So I'm more interested from that angle to see how he handles that, or if he's even able to handle that.
That makes sense. That totally makes sense to me. And one thing, let's talk about who's doing the best strategy right now then. And who can we learn from at the moment? In my opinion, obviously their comebacks, we're seeing some comments in chat, and I agree with our YouTube chat here, that Dr. Disrespect's comeback was 3x, the interest, if you will, 2x the interest or whatever, because of the drama, because of the mystery and all of the PR jibba jabba that happened related to Dr. Disrespect. Sure. But now that Dr. Disrespect has come back, his content strategy is off the charts. And if you want to just, within that Google Chrome tab there, Ross, just pull up Dr. Disrespect's YouTube channel. Dr. Disrespect, now that he's come back, isn't just a streamer. He is a full-blown internet entertainer. So he announced the launch of his book, which is coming out in 2021, called Speed, Violence, and Momentum, or Speed, Violence, Momentum. And he's already pre-selling the book, which he hasn't written yet. He said, I haven't even started writing it, but if you want to buy it, buy it. So he's got his book.
Copy for that game for that was amazing too. It was perfect copy.
That's his tagline. And then also he's creating original songs on his YouTube channel that are getting millions of views each. I don't know if you necessarily need to play any of his videos. I just want to show the videos, to show the content strategy on his channel. But he's got these songs like Dr. Disrespect Eclipse right there. That one just came out. It's going to hit 1 million views. No problem. Also, he had another Dr. Disrespect song that came out recently, Red Skies. That one got over 1 million views on YouTube, and it got millions on Twitter as well. Also, he released Alleyways, another original song. These are songs that he is singing. Like, he is actually singing the songs. He's paired up with a producer. Obviously, it's heavily auto-tuned, but Alleyways got 3.8 million views on YouTube. I mean, the dude is breaking out into the book world. He's breaking out into the music industry. And he's streaming regularly on his YouTube channel and creating original video content. And he's engaging on social media with mega game launches. He is doing it the right way, in my opinion. He's focusing on his core, which is the streaming, which is the entertainment with him as a live personality. And he's branching off of that into these other areas to increase his popularity. That's the way you do it. You focus 80% on your core, and then you do 20% more. And that's what Dr. Disrespect is doing. He's doing the 80-20 strategy with how he focuses on his time. And he is going to, I think, surpass Shroud and Ninja and Tim the Tatman and all these other guys in relevance if he continues this strategy. Dr. Disrespect, in my opinion, he is the #1 internet personality. He is the hottest internet personality out there right now, who's well beyond his competitors, not only in terms of his ability to entertain, but just his strategy and his team and his quality. It's all just 10 out of 10 right now. He is top of the industry. What do you think, Ross?
Yeah, what you said that is really important is your 80-20 rule. And this is something that we stress all the time. It's probably one of the top things that you've ever said, just in general, talking about the 80-20 rule. Because what's important about this is looking at all the videos he's doing now. This is all the content. His content strategy has not changed. The frequency has not changed. And this is a great lesson that when you're wanting to add another venture to your channel or anything or whatever you're doing, if it's an added venture onto what you're already doing, you cannot change your current content strategy. You're almost just going to have to suck it up and put in the time as something extra. That's where the 80-20 rule comes in, where if your content strategy is 80% of what you're already doing, then you're going to have 20% always left over to do whatever you want. And that's why he's going to have success with the book, his music. But the most important thing is his content strategy hasn't changed at all.
Yeah, it's only improved. And so one thing I would like to see from Dr. Disrespect, now that he has these different types of content that he's releasing, he's really focusing very heavily on his YouTube channel to drive all of this, his one YouTube channel. And I said this prior to his launch. He needs to break off with at least one additional YouTube channel to break off some of this content on the side, so that he's not relying on one avenue for everything that he's doing. If that YouTube channel went away, Dr. Disrespect's online business would be completely devastated. He would be back in the Stone Ages. He would have no options of anywhere to go. And so what I think he should do right now is open up at least a second channel, if not a third channel, right now, instantly, today. And channel #1 for him should be his edited content and his music videos. I think those deserve their own channel. That's how that channel was built in the first place. He should build a second channel that is only clips. So just the best moments of Dr. Disrespect, everyday individual clips. And then he should build a third channel that he can simulcast to for now until the viewership is there, for just live streams. So he should have at least a 3-channel strategy right now, in my opinion. And then eventually he should have a 4-channel strategy, with 4th channel being specifically for highlight montages of his gameplay. So the end game strategy would be similar to somebody like iFerg. And this is what Shroud, I think, and Ninja should do. They should break out into multiple YouTube channels as well. They should have at least one channel that has their highlights and their highlight montages of their streams and what happened there. And then they should have a second channel that just has individual clips. It's a minimum for gaming streaming personalities that have a budget, they have a team, and they have the ability to break out and get bigger. And why do that? Because you want to have content of different lengths available for viewers. The YouTube algorithm is going to serve people different videos depending on when they're watching, what device they're watching on, and how much time the algorithm thinks they have. And so, Ross, you might have 3 to 5 minutes after this podcast to watch a video on YouTube. You aren't going to see any of these 20-minute montage videos or 10-minute montage videos because YouTube knows you only have 3 to 5 minutes to watch. And so breaking out into multiple channels is, I think, what Dr. Disrespect can do to take his game even further into the next level and literally quadrupled down on the YouTube platform. So I think everybody out there, love him or hate him, Dr. Disrespect is the guy to watch. He's the guy to take best practices from, and he won the streamer comeback contest, and he's currently winning in terms of being able to take that momentum from the comeback into the future. Ross?
Any final thoughts? Okay, so let's make this the final thought. In terms of strategy, not viewership, how would you rank the returns?
Strategy versus viewership? I don't know. I don't understand what you mean.
Like, no, take the viewership numbers out of this, just based on how they returned and the strategies they used. How would you rank them?
Oh, I mean, Dr. Disrespect, definitely number one. He made a hype music video that, like, with literally him singing about "You'll never crush my soul." Like, he did a music video, original music video, to get everybody hyped to come back. Then he did a 24-hour lead-up stream with just his Lambo pulled into the garage there, everybody waiting for him to be there. Then he returned in the Lambo. Like, he had an incredible build-up to his return. His return was by far number one, and he generated the biggest viewership from it. And he handled the PR disaster that was his ban on Twitch brilliantly. He looked his audience in the eyes. He turned around. He took off his sunglasses, even though he had sunglasses under his sunglasses, and he told them, as honestly and straightforward, dropped the F-bomb on him, and he says, "Look at my effing eyes. I still do not know why I was banned from Twitch." And the second he said that to his audience in the internet, we all knew that was true. Why? And maybe you'll disagree with me. He would never, and his PR team would never, let him say that into the camera if it wasn't true, because it's so easily disprovable. They would never let him say, "Look at my effing eyes. I don't know why I was banned on Twitch." It could be disproven instantly. Twitch could just be like, "Yeah, you did, you knew." Or it could just come out later, "Yeah, you did, you knew." And it would devastate his trust with his audience. It would devastate his brand. It could just be instantly vaporized and disproven. So I actually think that moment proved that he literally did not know. He wouldn't have said it. He would have used some other tricky wording if he did know. So I actually had a previous podcast where I said I thought Dr. Disrespect knew. People that say they thought he knew, I am convinced he actually does not know. His PR team, which is a multi-million-dollar legal and PR team, coached him on that speech he did during the comeback, and they coached him to say that because it's true. So Dr. Disrespect's comeback was a number one. Number two was Shroud. Look, Rowdy Shroudy. What did he do? He did a little announcement video that was produced with Twitch on Twitter. Everybody got hyped. And he just came back and he played some video games on Twitch. Da-da-da, that's Shroud. And so he did what he's supposed to do. Shroud?
Yeah.
What else does he need to do? But here's the key, though. We talked about this on a previous podcast. Shroud, while he was out, did highlight montages on his channel of all of his best gameplay. And those videos got over 1 million views a pop while he was transitioning from Mixer back to Twitch. And so they focused, the content that he was releasing focused on the best element of Shroud, which is his insane gameplay. And his YouTube viewership skyrocketed during that time because people were hungry for Shroud. And what did they give him? They didn't give him the business with Shroud talking shop and doing just chatting. It was just Shroud shredding people in first-person shooter games in these insane montages. So his content strategy was nice. Ninja strategy was terrible. He just randomly been like, "I'm streaming now, haha." And then he'd be like, "I'm streaming over here, bah." And then you hear like a PR announcement of Hollywood. I like Ninja a lot. I think he's a positive guy. I think he's a great thing for the gaming community. And I'm making a mocking voice of him to show how trite and how underplanned and poorly utilized that moment was for Ninja and his team. And how it was just kind of super random and amateur hour for Ninja. So he was by far the worst in terms of his comeback, and his numbers reflect that. And so taking the numbers away, I mean, my ranking is reflected in the numbers as well, yep. But their strategy is the reason why their numbers are the way they are. If Ninja decided to do something really interesting and super cool, he could have been the number 2, maybe even number 1 comeback. He's freaking Ninja, man. But he didn't. He's just like, "Hey, I'm going to stream with my buddies. Hey, guys." That's not a great strategy. Like, he didn't even try. Anyway, get us out of here, Ross, or give your final thoughts and get us out of here.
No, my final thought was, after seeing what Ninja has done, my final thought would be, I don't know if he actually knows what direction he wants to take his streaming, if at all. I think he's just doing this to kind of save face a little bit and keep his options open. I honestly don't think he actually knows what he wants his strategy to be as far as when it comes to streaming, and especially how that fixes in with his Hollywood dreams. Either way, you can watch the live replay on YouTube. Go listen to the audio version on iTunes, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. Leave us a nice rating. We will be back tomorrow, will we not? I think we will.
I think we will. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Control Room. We are streaming live right now. Hey, everybody. I see you on my monitor right here on Twitch, DLive, Facebook, Trovo, YouTube, Periscope, through the power of Restream.io. Use the link in our description and our bio and our about to get $10 off your first month and sign up, so we get credit for your sign up. And use code DROP25, DROP25, no space, DROP25, no space at checkout. You want 25% off Restream so you can maximize your viewership on the internet. Why wouldn't you? Adios, amigos.